Senator Al Franken is expected to make a major announcement today.
It comes a day after multiple Democratic senators called on Franken to resign for allegations of sexual misconduct. Most recently, a former Democratic congressional aide claimed Franken tried to forcibly kiss her in 2006. More than half of his fellow Democrats in the Senate say they want him out, with female senators leading the way.
I think when we start having to talk about the differences between sexual assault and sexual harassment and unwanted groping, you are having the wrong conversation. You need to draw a line in the sand and say none of it is okay, none of it is acceptable, and we, as elected leaders, should absolutely be held to a higher standard, not a lower standard.
It is probably in the best interest of a lot of people that he resigns.
CBS News has learned that Franken and his wife met with Democratic leader Chuck Schumer yesterday, and that Schumer told Franken it is time to step down. Franken's office said yesterday he's not made a final decision on whether he will stay or go. If Franken does resign, Governor Mark Dayton would then appoint a 10-month replacement, and the Senate seat would be up for grabs in the 2018 election. We'll be watching it. Stay with WCCO for continuing coverage of what the senator has to say later this morning.
New this morning, a woman is in serious condition after a house fire in St. Paul. A neighbor called it in around 2 o'clock this morning after he was woken up by his barking dog. By the time firefighters arrived, there were heavy flames coming out of the home in the 1800 block of La Crosse Avenue East. The woman was found inside unconscious and was taken to Regions Hospital. One firefighter was also taken there with minor burns. It took firefighters about a half hour to completely put the fire out. The cause remains under investigation. Southern California has felt yellow wind, orange wind, and red wind, but never purple wind until now. So this is a color-coded system, and it shows the expected strength of winds driving the wildfires, and it has reached uncharted territory. So it pushes past red into purple yesterday, which they've never done before. And that means winds could blow at an astonishing 80 miles per hour. That's hurricane strength. The three major wildfires burning in Los Angeles and Ventura counties have already put tens of thousands of people under evacuation orders and have destroyed nearly 200 homes and buildings. Officials fear that things could get far worse today.
Demolition will continue at Minnehaha Academy today. Crews did start that work yesterday. Weather delayed them a little earlier this week. Gas leak in August caused that explosion that killed 2 employees. The demolition work should take 2 weeks. The entire section that was impacted by that blast must be completely rebuilt. Minnehaha Academy plans to rebuild what they've been calling a 21st century upper school campus.
Bitcoin continues to rise in value. The digital currency just hit the $14,000 mark. Back in 2011, it was worth less than $1. It started 2017 below $1,000 and shot above $10,000 last week. Some economists call the currency unstable, while others say it's only up from here. Roger Goodell has signed a 5-year contract extension to remain commissioner of the NFL through 2024. Goodell has been the commissioner since 2006. Since then, the league's total revenues have more than doubled to over $13 billion. This morning, we're continuing to remember longtime Channel 4 sports reporter Ralph John Fritz.
RJ died in Florida yesterday following a 2.5-year battle with stomach cancer. So many of you fondly recall RJ was a smiling face on the local sports scene, reporting here for some 44 years. WCCO's Bill Hudson looks back on Ralph's wonderful talent and incredible career.
Ralphie, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000,000 times, quit playing with those logs. It's time to eat.
A kid at heart.
You just gotta make the right move.
He was the sportscaster with a game for shenanigans.
Just talk about the bikes.
The bikes.
RJ learned his love of sports growing up in Sleepy Eye, but the star basketball player kicked off his broadcast career on a Stillwater radio station. He was just 19.
It was about 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and made $85 a week at that time. That's a lot of dough, isn't it?
Then in 1968, he began his 40-year run at CCO. The small-town kid hit the big leagues.
I always wanted to come to Cooperstown. I thought I'd get here as a player, but, you know.
RJ and Rosie formed the best tandem in town.
He connected with people through the television screen. That's why people gravitated towards him, because he's like your neighbor. Just a guy you want to hang out with and play cribbage with and have a beer with.
He was my brother.
I won't call anything if you don't.
And when RJ and Don got together, look out.
And often would say, when he was feeling good, you're the little brother I never had and never wanted.
I remember Don as a best friend. and a great teammate in basketball. Although I did wish he'd pass the ball a little more.
Got one on?
We've fished a lot together.
Meanwhile, another picture. Here's my daughter's holding it here. You see that?
RJ wrote the shtick. Don played along.
I'd like to find out why they call you Quick Draw. I reckon you're about to find out.
If he had a choice between telling a straight story and telling a story that had a twist or some fun in it, he would go with that story.
Ralph loved the outdoors, especially fishing.
The secret to catching fish is to get out by the crack of 11. Well, then we're a little late. We're a little late.
That passion was at the heart of RJ's long-running Out and About show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Roundabout. I'm R.J. Fritz at Mount Rushmore in the Black Hills of South Dakota.
But in April 2015, RJ was diagnosed with stomach cancer. He'd tackle it head-on in a letter to friends and would spend his days embracing what matters most.
Don't get too serious about it. This is sports.
He was the best. He was absolutely the best.
Speaking of time, are we out of time, Eric?
Yes.
We are. I'm sorry about that, but that's our time. Thanks for yours.
No, RJ, thanks for all of yours.
Sometimes you just have to lead by example. Here's how you do it, Louie.
Such great stuff. RJ is survived by his wife, Deb, his children, Brad, John, and Shelley. His funeral is going to be next week here in the Twin Cities. Ralph John Fritz was 78 years old.